Hello and welcome back to Dukascopy TV. Now you're joining us for a new segment today where we're going to be taking a look at some of your favourite currency pairs with Jean-François of ZAC of Management Joint Trust and Fingraphs. Jean-François, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for having us, Natalie. And we're going to have a look at our new Fingraphs service this morning. And you can see we're on our website here on the home page. Fingraphs is a new chart tool for investors and traders and is meant to make chart interpretation easy for everyone. We're going to be taking a look at the dollar rates today, is that correct? Sure, and first we have to go into our Dukascopy directory. We have integrated Dukascopy live price feed, and so if you go onto our website, into markets, you have access to our Dukascopy directory. And what are the pairs that we can view the dollar against? Well, we could view dollar rates as they are officially stated, or crosses against the euro, Swiss francs, Japanese yen, British pound, other crosses, gold and silver. We'll have a look at the dollar rates this morning. Now these are the dollar rates which are available. You can see that they are available on a very short term super scalpers view, that is inter hours, a scalpers view which is a bit more longer term, intraday view with the trader's view, or the investor view for medium and long term investors. We're going to have a look at a mosaic on an hourly basis, which will give us a time horizon over the next couple of weeks. Now here you have presentations of all the main pairs against the dollar. The Australian dollar, the euro, the pound sterling and the New Zealand dollar are presented against the dollar, the other ones in the direction of the dollar. And what we could see is that we in a weakening mode of the dollar over the last couple of weeks. Hence, with the Australian dollar coming down, the euro coming down, pound sterling coming down, and the New Zealand dollar. What we could see here is that we're slowly getting towards points of stress where the two envelopes are touching each other. But the risk index, which is in oversold when it comes into the green zone here, still on some of these pairs have some way to go. On the contrary, on all the pairs quoted in the direction of the dollar, we have been moving up over the last couple of weeks, and we're slowly getting oversold in some of them, overbought in some of them, and that means touching the red screens here. Now, if we want to focus on the euro, let's go to here. Here we present the euro on an investor's view. This is medium to long-term horizon. We're presenting a weekly chart, a daily chart, and an hourly chart in order to give you some perspective over the different time horizons. What we can see is that over the long term, over the next couple of quarters, euro seems to have turned up, and hence the bullish signal here, and is slowly moving up at the moment in what could be labeled for the time being a correction. On the daily charts, we're also moving up, and we've reached the first point of stress where our two envelopes have touched each other. Our risk index is in the overbought zone, and our initial targets, which were between 135 and 139, have at least been initially reached. This stress point has triggered an intermediate correction. This intermediate correction is seen here on the hourly. We're heading down. We believe there's a bit more potential towards the 130, and that at the moment, although we touched our green oversold zone one first time, the stress situation is not strong enough to trigger an important correction up. Okay, so we had a look at the investor's view. Let's have a look at a shorter time horizon, the trader's view. The trader's view will give you a perspective over the next couple of days. If we look at what we have here, we have a 60-minute chart, a 15-minute chart, and a 4-minute chart. The 60-minute chart is still in a downtrend, is getting a bit oversold, but there's a bit more potential down. The 15 minutes and the 4-minute charts are correcting up at the moment. We can only label this as a correction up in a downtrend of the 60-minute with a target between 131.13 and 131.66. The 4-minute chart is heading up, and over the next couple of hours, you should be able to make it back over 131. Now, we could look at a more short-term perspective. And we know that the euro-US dollar today is sort of reacting to the Italian bond auction that's going to be taking place today. So yeah, let's take a look at the nearer term view and see how that's responding. Well, on Fingraphs you have live Dukascopy prices, and so you could have a look at the scalpers view, which is in live streaming mode. It updates automatically. So you have here 4 minutes, 60 minutes, and a 15 minutes. So the 4 minutes is still heading up. However, the 60 minutes is showing us a correction down, which could bring us back to the 160, 150 level,
and the 15 minutes is following this move down and with similar targets. We could also look at a super scalper's view with a 60 seconds, 15 seconds and 5 seconds chart. And we could see here that this correction down is underway, and that the targets are leading towards the 130.60 on the 60 seconds, 15 seconds between a range just above 130.60, and a similar range on the 5 seconds chart.
So that's the euro US dollar. If we head back to the mosaic view, what's next on our dollar pairs for today?
Well, I wanted to have a look at sterling. Sterling has seen quite a sell-off, and so we're going to quickly have a view at sterling.
Let's have a look.
If we go into the sterling pair, well, on a weekly chart, we're in a resumed downtrend mode. The sterling had corrected up since 2010, and our envelopes have turned back down, and the targets which are considered are a bit scary towards the 140 level. On the daily chart, this move is well underway. There's still probably another 4 or 5 figures of potential. It's slowly getting oversold. But with the strength of the move down, we would need to see much more exaggeration to confirm correction up or eventually a reversal up. On the hourly chart, we're also getting quite oversold here. We are at stress, but there's still a bit more potential here. So I'd say it's just a bit too early to call a reversal up, and it's still a bit too early to initiate a corrective trade up.
Looking in terms of the trader's view, we have seen the pound sterling fluctuating against the US dollar off the back of inconclusive Italian election results this week. So what are we seeing in the trader's view? Well,
a similar picture basically, because the 60 minutes is getting quite oversold, but there's still a bit more potential here. The 15 minutes has reached an initial target. It's trying to make a correction up, and this correction up could lead us back to the 151.50 level. But at the moment, it's still too early to call a reversal here, giving the 60 minutes. So it's getting quite cheap, but it's not quite there yet.
And last on our list today, we're going to be taking a look at the dollar yen. Is that correct?
Exactly. So if we look at dollar yen here, on an investor view again, on the back of the Japanese intervention, the weekly chart is showing a strong uptrend. Over the next couple of quarters, there's probably a potential towards 95, which we have already reached, but up to 101, which is a bit more potential, probably not as much as has already been done. The risk index is slowly getting expensive, but hasn't reached the red zone yet. On the dailies, we've reached an initial top. We think it's an intermediate top at the moment. The targets have also been reached and overthrown, and hence the dimension here, impulsive done. But we are at stress on the envelopes, at stress on the risk index, so although it's still a bull trend, we would expect some type of intermediate correction here. So now if we look at the hourly, this initial correction is underway. It's still labeled as a correction on the hourlies, with the corrective done, which has gone down to the 91, 92 level. This acts as a support. If we make it below the 91 level, the next levels down, impulsive down, will be triggered. And they, given the volatility, would probably be 3-4 figures below that.
If we take a look at the trader's view, we know that the markets relatively ignored the overnight Japanese retail sales, and sort of the markets are now hanging on to the BOJ governor decision. So what are we seeing more in the trader's view? Well,
still a downtrend at the moment. If we look at the 60 minutes, you still have targets towards 90.5, 91, and the trend is still quite aggressively down. On the 15 minutes, you've seen some oversold situation, but it's also resumed downtrend, and there's still some potential down. And the 4 minute charts is showing no sign of reversal at the moment. So if we go back to the investor's view, it could be that this correction down could turn into an impulsive move down, which is quite logic given the amount of stress that we had here on the daily. All this in a long-term bullish perspective, but needs to breathe a bit over the next couple of months.
Jean-François, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Jean-François will be back with us next week, taking a look at more of your favourite currency pairs. For now though, goodbye.